My name's Eleanor. I'm 48, and for 2 years I've been married to a man who's gone more than he's home. No kids, no pets, no warm arms to greet me at dawn, just a creaky cabin in Asheville, North Carolina, where I tend to my lavender bushes under the afternoon sun, and wait for Henry to drag himself back from his endless business trips. This week, he's off in Chicago, leaving me alone as always. That night I cooked dinner, seared salmon, roasted vegetables, the usual. Poured myself a glass of chilled white wine, let the same old jazz playlist hum through the kitchen. The glow from the pendant light bathed everything in a warm golden haze. I was playing a part I'd perfected over 2 years, the dutiful wife content in her solitude. Then the doorbell cut through the music. I froze. It was 8 p.m., too late for visitors. I cracked the door cautious. There stood Noah, my husband's friend from way back, not his son, someone I hadn't expected. He was 27, tall, dark hair, must a backpack slung over one shoulder, a small wheeled suitcase at his side. Last I saw him was 8 months ago over lunch with Henry. "Eleanor," he said, voice low, hesitant. I was driving back from Charlotte. My car broke down halfway. Roadside's backed up. Mind if I crash here tonight? My heart skipped, not from surprise, but from something sharper, something I couldn't name. I stepped aside. "Come in. Want a drink?" "Wine, hot cocoa." He grinned, faint but warm. "Cocoa if you've got any left." I paused. I keep a tin of dark, low-sugar cocoa, my private indulgence never mentioned to anyone. "You remember that?" I asked. He shrugged. "Noticed you making it once when you were reading alone." A soft heat stirred in my chest, unbidden, dangerous. I laughed it off, poured us both mugs, and handed him a ceramic one. His fingers brushed mine, not cold but electric, like a spark that didn't belong to the boyish friend I'd once known. He'd grown into something else, a man, and I, a woman who thought she'd outgrown flusters, clutched my mug like it was a lifeline. We sat him by the window, me on the sofa, jazz weaving through the silence. We traded small talk, old stories, late assignments, lonely dinners. But in the quiet gaps, something unnamed pulsed heavy as the cocoa's warmth. His eyes lingered, searching past the polite mask I wore. I dodged his gaze, afraid it'd crack me open, expose a role I didn't know how to play. I woke at 5:52 a.m., not to an alarm, but to the pale light slipping through the curtains, teasing my eyelids. The house was still, my breaths loud in the quiet. Noah slept on the living room sofa, where I'd left blankets and a pillow, the heater humming. Just hospitality, nothing more. I slipped on a robe, brewed coffee, the Arabica's scent filling the kitchen. Then came footsteps, soft, unhurried. Noah, in a white tea-hair, tousled eyes, half awake. "Up early," he said, voice rough with sleep. "Habit," I replied, setting a second mug on the counter. We stood across the kitchen island, the air between us shifting, lighter, warmer, fragile as glass. "Still got that orchid on the porch?" he asked. I nodded. "Almost died a few times, but it keeps coming back." His eyes, playful yet soft, held mine. "Stubborn like you," he said, and the words landed like a touch, stopping my breath. We took our coffee to the porch. Dawn was breaking, a thin mist clinging to the grass. Noah sat beside me on a wooden chair, mug in hand, staring into the distance. "Sleep okay?" I asked. He nodded. "Had a weird dream, though." I smirked. "What dream isn't?" He went quiet, then whispered, "I was sitting right here, and someone put their hand on mine." My grip tightened on my mug. Heart racing. I tried to pivot, asking about his old friends, but he cut through. "Never asked about them. Maybe 'cause I don't want anyone taking their place." His honesty stung raw and unguarded. I should have changed the subject, laughed it off. Instead, I asked soft, "In your dream, did she pull away?" He shook his head. "No, she stayed." My hand resting on my thigh inched closer to his, just enough that a breeze might have pushed them together. He set his mug down, leaned in, and placed his warm hand over mine. I flinched but didn't pull back. We sat there, wind curling around us, coffee's scent lingering the moment heavy with intent. Scared, he asked, barely above a whisper. I looked at the lawn, dawn's light catching the leaves. "Yeah," I said, "but not of this. I'm scared I've forgotten how to feel anything at all." The air thickened, time slowing, no more jokes, no pretense. Noah stood. I thought he'd leave, but he didn't. He picked up a knit throw from the armchair and draped it over my shoulders, gentle, like he was holding something fragile. "You're cold," he said, voice low. His face was close, his eyes catching the light, young yet impossibly deep. "Noah," I said soft, "I'm nearly 20 years older than you." He didn't blink. Since when does a heart care about age? I laughed, not from relief, but to keep from breaking. He sat closer, his hand taking mine, fully deliberate. My spine stiffened, each heartbeat a drum in my chest. "I thought you were just a memory," I said, eyes on the floor. "And he cut in, never forgot you're the first woman who saw me without me trying." Asterisk, asterisk. I stopped thinking about Henry age, about Henry, about what anyone might say. All I could think was how long it had been since someone saw me like that. Asterisk, asterisk, we hadn't kissed, hadn't crossed any physical line, but emotionally, every wall was dust. His hand touched my cheek, warm as a winter fire. "Am I really here with you?" he asked. I nodded, no hesitation, just truth. Our foreheads touched, no lips, just two lonely souls breathing together, a closeness that needed no name. That afternoon, we didn't part. No kisses, no lines crossed, just hands held, eyes locked. Hunger, like all physical needs, faded under the quiet burn inside me. Noah stood first, poured us water, his glance asking if I was okay. I nodded, clutching the cold glass with warm hands. "I don't want you to feel trapped," he said. I shook my head. "I'm not. I'm just scared I'll get used to this." He smiled soft. "Then maybe we should." Noah was just passing through his apartment under renovation, but he moved through this house like he knew its silences, its breaths. "Ever been with someone who made you want to stay?" I asked, surprised at myself. He paused, then shook his head. "Met people who made me happy, but not one who made me feel I could stop running." His words cut through me, sharp as the noon sun. I looked away, hiding the ache in my chest. Then, without thinking, I asked, "If Henry comes back tomorrow, what do you call this last night, this morning now?" He didn't flinch. I wouldn't label it. I'd keep it, hold it close, sitting here saying nothing but feeling whole. My grip tightened on the glass, his gaze shivering through me. That night, the temperature dropped. I grabbed an extra blanket. Noah was in the kitchen whipping up udon with ginger and soy, acting like the day hadn't shaken us both. We ate in silence, chopsticks clink in wind, rattle in the windows. "Noah," I said, broth all that remained in my bowl. "I'm not used to how you look at me." He paused. "Want me to stop?" "No," I said slow. "I just want to know why." He leaned back, arms crossed. "Because you don't hide. You sigh when you're sad, sit when you're tired. You're real, and that's when you're most beautiful." My heart trembled, laughter, my shield against tears. I'd spent a lifetime hoping to be loved for being real, and here was this man, my husband's friend, seeing it. "Isn't that ironic?" I said. He didn't answer, just sat closer, not touching, but near enough for his breath to reach me. Later, under the lamp's warm glow, he asked, Do you believe some connections don't need to go anywhere? That they're enough in one moment? I nodded. Yeah, but few people are sane enough to stop there. He smiled a challenge in his eyes. What about you? I met his gaze. I don't know, but if we don't stop tonight, tomorrow we won't have this quiet to share coffee. He nodded. Then tonight we sit. No touching, no going anywhere. Just us seeing each other. We sat shoulders brushing in a kitchen warm with broth scent on a night cold enough to crave company. We chose silence, no words needed. Sometimes one honest night with someone who stirs you is enough to carry forever. I woke at midnight not from nightmares or cold, but a stillness so deep it pulled me awake wanting to hold it longer. In the living room, Noah's candle burned cedar and vanilla soft in the air like an old jazz tune. I slipped on a sweater, stepped out. He slept on the sofa, hand curled under his head shoulder, half covered by a thin blanket. I pulled it, higher instinct. Then I sat on the floor beside him, no plan, just a need to be near. His face young but sure didn't unsettle me anymore. It made me feel grown, wise enough to let this moment stay unspoiled. I leaned my cheek against the sofa's edge near his hand and whispered, "Thank you for reminding me I'm a woman, not just a wife or a role, but a person whole, deserving to be seen, heard, alive." He stirred but didn't wake. I stood, poured water, and realized not every spark needs to burn out. Some moments, perfectly timed, are enough to heal what you thought was lost. Morning came, coffee brewed, the day starting lighter inside me. Noah shuffled in, eyes sleepy. "Up early," he said, smiling soft. "Not mad at me, are you?" I shook my head. "No, but if we'd gone further last night, today would have been empty." He nodded, no regret, just a steady look, warm and sure. We sipped coffee, talked about new vases, half-watched documentaries. When he left, I walked him to the door. No hugs, no promises, just a glance that said enough. Not every closeness needs to consume. Some sparks don't need to be love. One night of being seen truly is enough to remind you you're whole, alive, honest. If you've ever paused at that edge between reason and raw feeling, drop a period in the comments. No explanation, just a nod to say we're not alone. Subscribe if you crave more real, raw human stories. Share this with someone teetering on that line. Sometimes one story timed right can stop you from going too far.